Welcome back everyone to Pinetopia. Since the last episode, I have been setting out the layout for the golf course and building the tee shelters for each of the holes. Now this is hole number 7. I really should be making a sign so that you know which hole each of these are associated with. And I'm supposed to be hitting it across there to the target right across there. There's the pin. So that's no problem about seeing this. That should be a nice straight shot. Except it's very hard for me to keep from either hitting it too hard or too softly. And while I occasionally am able to hit it just right with an iron pickaxe, and that is like 1 in 10 tries or something like that. And usually what happens is I hit the thing, and it either comes up short or it's hit so hard that it lands on the other side, or it bounces off the building or the tree and then comes back. Whatever it is, it's almost assuredly going to be in the water. Obviously, I need to fix this. You can't have a golf hole where all you're doing is landing in the water. The only solution I can see is to build a bridge. Now, it can't be a land bridge because if it were a land bridge, then I would have no water access from my base into the bay over here. So instead, I am going to have to build a wooden bridge that connects the two sides to each other. It has to be nice and wide so that I don't have to do anything with super precision, because if I try to do that, I know that something horrific will go wrong in there. So I will build a bridge, connect the two sides together, and see if this helps to solve my problem with this hole. Here's the first draft of the bridge. I might have to add a few more details later in order to make it look better, but I think from the point of view of functionality and testing to see if it solves our problem, it should do. So let's head up here. Place down our sulfur cube and see if things are better. Now I probably just should use a copper sword for this. Yeah, no. It's determined to balk me. How about a copper pickaxe? Right? Surely that can't go too fast. Of course, it's possible that I could hit it at the wrong angle. Really? Okay. That one I deserved because I did hit it off, and that's the way golf courses really work. If you hit it well and where the intended play area is, you should be rewarded with a good shot for the next attempt. And if you hit it off the mark, then you get punished. And in that case, I got punished. Let's try this again. All right, that is much better. Well, if I had honey at the bottom, it would have been an ace. But instead, it bounces out and it comes back. Well, I suppose you get the same result if you hit it on the flagpost and didn't actually go into the hole, so that is a legitimate possibility. The lie on this is really bad. Well, now I don't think one would ever take relief onto a bridge in real golf, but there's absolutely no way I could hit that thing. So I have to call that unplayable and take a stroke penalty there and drop it onto the bridge. Now, can I... All right, fine. Well, I get a par, I guess. First shot could have been an ace if I had honey down there. Speaking of honey, maybe I should put some down here. I think I have some in a bundle right now. So what if I put this honey down there and see what happens if I do have honey in here? Let's see, let's get this down here. How about... I have only 7. So we'll do it that way. Let's get our honey blocks out and make things very sticky in here. Of course, there's always the possibility of introducing the opposite problem, meaning getting an ace being too easy, but for now, let's see if I can at least reach the hole. Yeah. Maybe too easy. Right now, the hole is so easy, I think even the wandering trader could get an ace on this hole. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to move the pin. Probably to someplace around here, so it's no longer a direct shot across there. Thus, this will be the left side of the green, and this is probably where you're going to land the ball, and we have the pin here where you could try to actually make your putts. And I think that might be a little bit more fair. So let's see if a change actually fixes things. This should be a bit more challenging here. Now, we no longer have a direct shot over there. You might be able to get it where it bounces off that hill and then into the pin there, but that will take an extraordinary shot. This is not an automatic ace as it was during my previous test. So now, let's see what we can get. Now, here it's going to be especially challenging because I've got a wandering trader in the way, but that'll just add a little bit of extra spice to this particular test. So let's... what do I want to do? Oh, let's try the copper pickaxe and see what that does. And... ooh. I think that hit the horse. Well, it certainly leaves me with a more challenging putt. Did I hit it with just the right... no. Actually, I'd say about the right speed to have hit it. I mean, it would have been a little bit better if I was just a little bit better on course, but there we go. That, I think, is in the right spot now. So the problem of hole number 7, I think, is solved. With hole number 7 in a much better state now, it's time for us to bring our attention to the first hole. Now, the first hole has its own challenges in which we also have to cross a river. And in this case, we have this tall hill on the other side, and either I hit it hard enough to get over on top of the hill and then it goes way beyond where it needs to go, or it hits the side of the hill and bounces back into the water. But before I go and attempt to fix this and find a way to make this hole better, I really need to know exactly how each of the various weapons interacts with the ball. Because right now I've been assuming that if I had two tools with the exact same amount of damage, then they will hit the ball in the same way. For example, here we have a wooden axe and a diamond sword. They both do 7 attack damage. If I used an axe and I hit the same ball with a diamond sword, would I get the ball hit the same distance? Now, this is a pretty poor place in which to make such a test because if I'm slightly off, we're going to be probably hitting the hill and bouncing off into some ridiculous direction. So, what I need is a driving range. The question is, where do we put this driving range? We don't want the range obviously to be on the course itself. We want it to be away from it. Part of the reason we don't want it on the course itself is because the course has all of these hills. And we want to be able to have a nice flat area that will not make the area too easy. I mean, the idea of a driving range is that it's too easy. So what we want here then is probably to place the driving range here. And that means to flatten out this area all the way through here. Maybe even cover that all up and make this one nice long flat area. How long? If I can get it to be about 200 blocks, I think that'll be the perfect size. This spot is 200 blocks away from the course. That means I'm going to need to cut down a large number of trees because trees are very, very bad in a driving range. And I need it to be straight. I don't want it to be on a diagonal or anything like this. I need it to be straight, going from either north-south or east to west. And the reason why I want it that way is because it'll make measuring a great deal easier. And how far, which is why I have started on at the end and then going here to find out where the starting point should be. Now, we have all these ravines I'm going to have to cover up. I'm trying to see if I am on a straight shot as much as possible. So therefore, looks like I would need to start I think that's due east of the pro shop. That's it. I'll probably come up here. Now if I bring up the coordinates, I think starting at 500 would be good. Another way to make things easier is that if I have the T to the driving range right here, going back and forth like this, and then get rid of that hill and all the way for 200 blocks. I think I'll have a wonderful driving range, though it's going to take me a long time to get this done. All right, this looks like 500 here, 500 here, 500 here. Actually, at 125, this is minus 500, 125. That sounds like a perfect place to be the center of the area. That way it's a nice, easy to remember number when I get to the other end, and if I walked a little off or something like this, I can still find my position by remembering it's going to be 200 blocks from minus 500, 125. 200 blocks from that point is right over here, so almost into the water. And I decided to mark these off every 25 blocks for now, though I don't want to put anything solid as markers on there. So most likely I will just, once I have things flattened out, have blocks on the ground that are inside the ground so that it could be easily marked off, but I don't want anything for the ball that you hit to be bouncing off of it. I want to be able to see what kind of distance we can get if there are no obstructions. So I need to go and flatten this out, and I suspect it's going to take a while. I decided that I will start the terraforming at level 72, which is where I had put the torches. So I'm going all around here. If for some reason it goes below 72, I will just leave it there because I may choose a different baseline later on. But anything that's above 72 is going down. 72 is the maximum height that I'll be using. So I'll be taking everything for these 9 blocks wide. I am going to bring everything down here down to 72. And once I am done with that, I'm going to judge and decide if I'm going to need to bring it down anymore or if I'm going to fill in everything that's below 72 after that. Perhaps trying to break that many blocks without enchanted tools is a rather lengthy process. So I am going to do the rather lengthy process of getting some obsidian. Then I'll be making an enchanting table, and I'm hoping that this will help me to get more durable tools because I have been going through tools at quite a rapid pace. And I've decided that I better get this obsidian before my diamond pickaxe wears out. I have finally broken through the mountain. There's just a little bit of dirt to finish up and I'll be done with anything that's above 72 here. For the rest of the way, this is halfway through. I believe that everything is going to be at 72 or lower. This is right here at 69, which is clearly below 72. So now I have to decide whether or not I need to raise this to match 72 or whether I should lower the parts above in order to lower to this. I think because we're halfway there and nothing else is getting this high, I will go to this height right here and use this as my baseline and just lower the first section down to its level. And this is 69, so that means 3 more blocks down before I will be done. By done, of course, I mean of the excavation phase. There's still going to be the filling in phase where I'm going to have to fill everything around here so that everything is nice and level for the 200 blocks. Now before I do that though, I want to test to see how well this is going to be because right now I've got only a 9 block wide area here. Is that really going to help or is that just going to create its own problems? Let's drop this over here and swipe it down. Okay, I am able to do it reasonably straight. That's good news. It even went over the one section that still needs to get down to 72. So now, how far did this thing actually go? Ooh. Ah, here you are. Yes, of course, in a depression here, so that it likely stopped there, bounced back and forth a little bit, and came to a stop. Well, I think that's a good data point. On second thought, in looking at this chest and the number of stacks of dirt I have, perhaps I should start laying down the dirt to bring the endpoints up to 69 before I bring this back down, because I know I'm going to have a final height of at least 69. I might as well start filling in, get rid of some of the dirt in the chest, and that way I have room in the chest in which to put the blocks that I'll be taking down here. Ultimately, I settled on Y level 70. I now have a starting line, so this is the T point, the 0 point, and every 25 blocks I have a sulfur cube there to mark the position. Then when we get to the 100 mark, I have 3 cinnabar. So you see this section is all in grass and that section is in stone. And we head along all the way until this way, until we get down to the very end point where I still have the trees still disintegrating. And all the way down there, well, that's the shoreline. I'm going to have to, of course, work on the sides and all this. Once everything is working and I know that this is what I want, then I could worry about sculpting the land so that it works. So you have a proper transition from the side onto here, and well, it's not too far off on this end, but it could still use a little bit of work. Now we need to test this. Let's plop our sulfur cube right over there and see if I could hit it anywhere near straight. Well, it doesn't look perfectly straight, but it should do. And I don't have to worry about it going that way. I guess if I hit it too far to the side and it slips over the side there, I'll have to worry about something. But here it is. We are almost to 100 blocks. That is with the copper axe. I hope the efficiency 2 on there doesn't change it any. I will have to do some full testing, preferably with unenchanted tools. Then, of course, then compare maybe enchanted tools with unenchanted tools. But what started this entire question was there a difference between a diamond sword and a wooden axe? I guess first thing I'll need is a wooden axe. I don't know where the old one was, but I'll presume that I used it in golf and it got destroyed, because I go through a great number of tools in here. Okay, 7 and 7. So therefore, first we'll do a diamond sword, then we will do it with the axe. Here is the diamond sword. How if I stand as close to the middle of this block as possible and hit it right at the 3/4 marks towards the upper part, and hope I didn't hit that too far to the left. And it's going to be close. Looks like it's coming to a stop right over there, just before it falls over the edge. So perhaps, all right, actually that one went past 100. It's getting pretty close to 125. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so it went to 120. How about if I mark this? There we go. I'll put it right there so that I know where that one ended. I wonder what happens if I put a sulfur cube on top of a torch. It seems to be no problem whatsoever. So maybe that's what I could use as a marker if I'm playing golf and I have to lift the cube and then put it back down. I could use the torch as a proper marker. That's something to think of for the future. But now let's see about the wooden axe. That's where I want to be, about as close to the same place as possible. And let's hit it. Okay, it it knocks out the marker. Uh-oh, I think I hit that a little bit too far to the left. Is that going to fall down, or is that going to end up around the same place as the previous? Actually, didn't seem to go quite as far. It did not fall off the edge. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So slightly short. Of course, that's only one sample, and you can't make conclusions off of a single sample. So I am going to do many more, many more trials, many more tests of this to see what the differences are. And I'm going to discuss these results when I return to the next episode of Piney Plays a Minecraft Pinetopia.